afternoon, dear fellow Toastmaster and guests. I, Anubhav, Acting Sergeant at Arms, welcome you. So I would request all of you to please give a big round of applause to Star Students. Zig Ziglar once said, how we can face fear. He gave definition of fear like two options he gave. First option was forget everything and run. And second option, face everything and rise. So definitely I would expect that we will follow the second path. So now I will explain the 3 ground rules. First, I request all of you to put your phone in silent mode. Second, entry and exits are allowed during applause. And third, please refrain from speaking on sex, religion and politics. So now I would like to invite Acting President of the day. He is a travel buff. Already he has covered 15 countries and he has big plan to cover whole world. So ladies and gentlemen, please give big round of applause to welcome Toastmaster Sandeep.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anubhav. A splendid afternoon to all our growing Toastmasters and brilliant guests. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the 16th session of our club. We don't have any guests here today. So I would like to, yes, we have our guest. Can you please give a small introduction saying your name, your organization and your favorite hobby at least?
Okay, yeah, Amit here. I'm from SLTM Club and I'm partner in Minerva Infotech, and my favorite hobby is traveling, same like yours.
Please.
Good afternoon everyone, my name is Krishnesh and I'm from Newtown Toastmasters. I'm the acting G today.
I would like to share with you all a small story. A man was walking in the mountains along with his 5-year-old son. Suddenly, the son fell down, got hurt and screamed, "Ouch!" To his surprise, he saw the same voice being repeated in the mountains, "Ouch!" Curious, he yelled out, "Who are you?" The voice answered, "Who are you?" Then he got angered and screamed, "You coward!" The same voice got repeated from the mountains, "You coward!" He looked at his father and said, "Father, what's happening?" His father smiled at him and said, "Son, pay attention." The man screamed, "You are a champion." The voice answered, "You are a champion." The son was surprised and asked, but he did not know what is happening. Then the father explained, "Son, people call this thing an echo. But this is what life actually is. Life is a reflection of your own actions. If you want more love in the world, create more love in your heart." So, in our Toastmasters Club also, what I mean to say is that if you want your club to be more competent, improve your own competency level. If you want the club to be more supportive and courteous, offer support to your club members. Be generous to them, be courteous to them. With that note, let me now welcome the Toastmaster of the day, who is going to take charge of the meeting today. I would say he is well known for his eloquent speech and he is a hard-working gymnast as well. Please welcome Toastmaster of the day, Sasi Bhushan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sandeep, for such a kind word. I was once upon a time, not now. Someone had truly said that whatever you can't go to the beginning and change it. You start from today and change the ending. This is what I feel whenever I see a drop of water wasted just like that. I would like to share with you the anecdote which is very much close to my heart. 19th of June 2019, 7 am in the morning, when all of us at L&T KOLKATA were rushing for the classes which was going to start at 8 o'clock. I finishing up my assignment late at night around 3 o'clock. It was difficult for me to catch up on time. But somehow I could manage to get up at around 7:15. But by the time I could actually get up from my bed, the washroom was already blocked by the roomie, as it was a twin sharing room. In the meanwhile, I thought of peeping into the newspaper that was just dancing on the floor, waiting for someone to give it a due respect. I diligently picked up the newspaper, in a way as if I was doing some kind of favor to it. While I was going through the headlines, my eyes got stuck at one point. Well, what was that? In a bold letter, it was written, Chennai officials has finally declared a 0 day has reached. 0 day, what is that? 0 day means no water for Chennai anymore. All the 4 reservoirs of the city was completely out of stock, and Chennai was literally craving for each and every drop of water. I was stupefied, and by the time my roomie came out of the washroom, he could easily figure out the restlessness in me. Upon asking, I just showed him the headline. Now he too had same sort of reaction. When I asked for his take over this, he murmured, has he used an extra bucket of water while bathing today? The answer was unfortunately yes. It was yes. Probably it was yes right from the time when he started taking bath on his own. It was yes for me either. And many of us sitting around here can find themselves in same sort of situation. Friends, here I will share with you few interesting facts which may be quite intimidating at the same time. Do you know we Indian waste 45 liters of water a day? 163 millions of Indians don't have an access to clean drinking water. 21% of the communicable disease is due to the paucity of clean drinking water. 500 children are dying each day due to diarrhea. Our city of joy, Kolkata, wastes 50% of the water that it receives. Bangalore, being the third most populous city, comes on the slot 2 with 49%, and then similarly Delhi, Mumbai and Chennai coming on the third, fourth and fifth slot with the figure of around 26, 20 and 18%. I have a lot more to talk about it, and I will share with you what happened exactly on 19th of June. But before I do so, let's jump quickly into the today's session. Today's session is divided into 3 sections. Section 1 is the prepared speech. Section 2, the table topic with the goosebumps. And the third one, probably the most important one, the general evaluation, where the general evaluator will be giving his minute feedback over all the do's and don'ts we have done today. To do so, we have with us the person who sees the broken pipes and overflowing water tank along the roadside. He also sees the domestic and the industrial waste getting flown into the holy Ganga. He realizes that he can't do much about them. What he can do is ensure that he uses those water consciously so that it counts for something. Fellow Toastmaster, let's welcome the general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Krish.
Good afternoon again, everyone. So the evaluation part of the full meeting will be done, it cannot be done just by one person. So I have 3 soldiers who will be helping me with this. So in short, we all call them as tag role players. So T is for timer, A is for our counter, and G is for grammarian. So in that order, I'd like to ask my timer to please stand up and give your role.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, as a timer, I will be timing the Toastmaster of the session. That means the timers,
Speakers.
the table topic speakers, and the prepared speeches, and the evaluation. So for table topic speakers, there will be total 2 minutes. In 1 minute, I will be showing the green card. In 1 minute 30 seconds, I will be showing the yellow card, and in 2 minutes, I will be showing the red card. For prepared speeches, the total time will be 6 minutes.
7 minutes.
Total prepared speeches, total time will be 7 minutes. In 5 minutes, I will be showing the green card, and in 6 minutes, I will be showing the yellow card, and in 7 minutes, I will be showing the red card. And for the evaluation section, total time will be 3 minutes. In that, at 2 minutes, I will be showing the green card, and at 2 minutes 30 seconds, I will be showing the yellow card, and in the 3 minutes, I will be showing the red card.
Thank you. Just to add to what the timers said, the prepared speakers will have a upper and lower buffer of 30 seconds each, but for the table topics section, there is no lower buffer, there is only higher. So you have to speak for at least 1 minute. Right? So now can I please have my R counter giving your rules?
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As the purpose of our counter is to take a note of words and the filler sounds which we use as a crutch or filler words. During the meeting, I'll listen to the overused words like such as so, and the filler sounds like which we generally find it just to take a time. I'll also make a note of the. I'll also keep a note of the words which will be used repeatedly. And the end of the meeting, I'll present my report when called upon by General Boy. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, can I have my grammarian explain his role, please?
Good afternoon, Toastmasters and fellow Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, my responsibility is to pay full attention to all speakers and listening all the language usage of all the speakers. Then I'll note down the improper language as well as outstanding words, quotes, shares, and thoughts. As grammarian, I would like to introduce the word of the day. The word of the day is plethora. Plethora means is a noun basically, and its meaning is large or excessive amount of something. So one example by using plethora is I have a plethora of shirts, so I will donate some. I would like to request all the speakers to use the word of the day as much as possible. Then at the end of the meeting, I'll give my grammarian report as well as the count of the word of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, my tag role players, for being very crisp in explaining your responsibilities. I'll give the stage back to the PM audio of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Now coming back to the point where I left. While we were pitting over the crisis of Chennai, my friend asked me, can't we do something about it? I abruptly said, yes, why not? He questioned me back, what is that? I had no clue whatsoever. We were just pondering. Then suddenly we realized that we are a batch of 50 people. And every day we are using 2 to 3 sealed packed bottles of drinking water. And out of which 1 bottle we are wasting every day. My friend asked me, what if we own single bottle which is given to us on day 1 and reuse it by refilling it from the water dispenser that is kept in the class only. I said, wow, let's do it. we started thinking how to get it done on ground level. While we were mulling over the fact, we realized that we were on the verge of skipping our breakfast. My friend rushed to the canteen and I rushed to the washroom. I could barely manage to reach class on time and I was 15 minutes late. Trust me, fellow Toastmasters, it was quite mortifying. Well, what happened later, I will share with you in a while. But before that, without losing much of time, let's enter into the first section of the day, prepared speech. And before I call upon the first speaker of the day, Toastmaster Ravi, I would like to call his speech evaluator here to reflect on his speech objective and the speech introduction. Over to you, speech evaluator, Toastmaster Smita.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and special wish to Toastmaster Ravi. He will be giving his first icebreaker speech today, and his purpose of the speech is to give introduction himself to the club members. And timer, please note that the time is 4 to 6 minutes for his speech, and I shall present my evaluation when I am asked for the same by our general evaluator. Thank you.
So can I have the first speaker of the day, Toastmaster Ravi, whose life has no more or less been than a simple roller coaster ride. Over to you, Toastmaster Ravi.
Good afternoon, Toastmaster and dear guest. I am Toastmaster Ravi. I just repeat it's Ravi, not Robi. Oftenly people called me here in Calcutta as Robi. So being born in a Bengali family, I born in a Bengali family at Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. I completed my studies from Odisha, then joined a professional career at Chennai, and then later subsequently I am here in City of Joy, Calcutta. So basically it's a mixed combination of culture which is put in on me. So since this is my first icebreaker speech, so I'll put it into 3 parts. Like stage 1 will explain about my post-intermediate journey. Part 2 will be my graduation journey, and part 3 will be my professional journey. So I would like to start with my first part, that is my intermediate journey. After completion of my intermediate in 2007, I had to appear for the engineering exam. As all of us know, like for a middle class family, for every parents, it's become a dream to turn their children as an engineer. So I was also in the same race. To fulfill my parents' dream, I had taken admission into the engineering coaching classes. The name of the coaching class is the Prerna classes, which is one of the finest coaching classes in Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. They took some handsome money to appear for this coaching engineering exam and to send us to IITs and NITs. So my father has invested his hard-earned money on me to become an engineer. While attending the classes at the Prerna coaching center. Since the classroom was very big and they were least bothered about the interest of the student, they were morely focusing on their curriculum to complete the subject on time. During the coaching classes, I got my first smartphone gifted by my father. So I was so fascinating to use it that I used to use it in the class inside the classroom. Since the classroom was big, I used to sit in one of the corner of the classroom just to hide myself from the teacher's radar so that I can use the smartphone. So during this process, I was losing my interest from the subjects. Like for engineering, I chose PCM, physics, chemistry, and maths. Since I was more focusing on the smartphone, so I was losing the interest from the subjects. The gravitational forces of physics and chemical reaction of the chemistry, though those were
haunting me like anything since I was more focusing on the smartphone during the classes. Somehow I could not crack the IITs and NITs, but I could crack Odisha JEE, and I took admission in that one of the college in Odisha named as NIST, National Institute of Science and Technology at Behrampur. So from there my second journey started. After taking admission into the college, I came to know that one of my relatives' son is also studying in that particular college. So out of curiosity, my mom asked me to contact him just to know about the college culture and the hostel life, etc. So one fine day, I called him and asked him about the college culture, and he explained me about the ragging part of the college, because it is most famous in the engineering college, ragging. So since the college was situated at South Odisha and we belong to the eastern zone of Odisha, so people are not liking much to be in their colleges. So that kept a huge fear in my mind that if I go to the college, people will rag me and I will not be nowhere. With that note, I convinced myself one fine day and I started my journey to become an engineer. So my father came along with me to drop me to the hostel. After I reached to the college, the hostel was allocated to me and my father came to drop me to the hostel room along with my belongings. After analyzing the situation, what I found that there are a lot of seniors which were roaming around here and there. So the so-called my elder brother who told me about the ragging facts of the college, that was going on my mind. So I was pretty nervous at that point of time, since I was going out first time from my hometown and from my comfort zone, and it was very tough for me. So that point of time I hugged my father very tightly and started crying that I will not study in this college and stay in the hostel. So since I was the only son of my father, so I convinced him that I will not be here, and I convinced him, and he he had left no choice in spite of returning back to the home, though he has invested a lot of money in that admission process. While returning to the home, I spoke to my cousin brother who was studying the MBA, and he suggested me to go to pursue the management line, since it was a mid of the academic session and it was a win-win situation for me to take admission in the management, since all the engineering college admission process was over and I had left no other choice rather taking into admission into the BBA. So that's how I broke my parents' dream to becoming an engineer. So while in the BBA classes, I was introduced to the new subject called accounts. Since I was from the science background and I had no clue from where this debit comes and the credit goes out, somehow I managed myself with the account subject. So while pursuing the BBA, in the third year, L&T came for the placement. When I was clear of my thoughts that I will first complete my MBA, then I will go for the job. But somehow my parents convinced me to appear for the exam. So then I appeared for this L&T campus placement. And when the results were declared, I was very happy and that I have been selected in that L&T. So I was very relaxed at that point of time. The similar time, the song was going on my mind. I was at cloud 9. The song was going on. Aaj main upar, aasmaan hai niche. So that's how this second part of my journey is over. Now the third part, when I got selected in L&T, I had called to join L&T at Chennai office. In Chennai, I have taught about little bit of Tamil and eating sambar, rasam, all those things. So the interesting fact about is that my parents wanted me to become an engineer, but here I have been serving an engineering company after joining L&T. The moral of the story is like that. After joining L&T, later I was transferred to Kolkata, where I get opportunity to pursue my MBA, and I completed MBA, and today here I am in Kolkata. So the moral of my story is, अगर किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहोगे तो पूरी कायनात लग जाती है उसे जुटाने में. So that my parents' dream was that I should become an engineer, but here I am today serving an engineering company. So somehow I matched it. So that's it. That's from my side. Thank you.
What a speech, plethora of emotions, and while going through the roller coaster ride of your life. Brilliant. So, next, moving on to the second speaker. But before I come on to her introduction, can we have the speech evaluator of the second speaker, Toastmaster Ravi? Over to you.
So good afternoon, everybody. So it's a pleasure for me to be evaluator for somebody who's quite experienced Toastmaster and office bearer of this particular division. The speech, the purpose of this speech is to develop skills for coaching a fellow member or a person outside Toastmaster. Coaching is something which I am passionate about, and I hope and wish good luck to the Toastmaster who's going to give this speech today. All the best to you, and I'll request timer to kindly note the time. This is a prepared speech, so the timing, upper side timing is 7 minutes and the lower side timing is 5 minutes. All the best, Toastmaster Archita. Thank you very much.
Now, before I call upon to second speaker of the day, let me have a pleasure to introduce her. She is the president of Kolkata Toastmasters Club. She is quite well known for her eloquent speech. Currently working as a freelancer and soft skill trainer. Can we have you here, Toastmaster Archita?
Do you know what the difference is between a coach and a trainer? Or between a coach and a teacher? A teacher or a trainer will always tell you, this is what needs to get done and this is how you do it. A coach will always tell you, this is what needs to get done, find out how you can do it. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I'm here today to tell you about my journey of being a coach to a few people in my life. When I started working as a soft skills trainer, life gave me ample opportunities to be a trainer, which meant I had my curriculum set. I was going and talking to people about public speaking skills, extempore skills, debating skills, and I was training them on how to achieve it. That's when two people entered my life. One, a 16-year-old girl in one of my institutional trainings, and the other, an almost 50-plus woman who refused to tell me her age in one of my corporate training programs. Both these people were different. I couldn't train them because I had to coach them. This girl, 16-year-old, Shweta, she came to me and she said, "Ma'am, I really want to be a good public speaker. I want to go up on stage and talk." But the moment I go up on stage and realize that people are looking at me, my legs start shivering. Words fail me. And I refuse to utter a single word. What is it that I can do? This lady, 50 plus something, came to me and said, "I have the confidence to go up on stage and talk, but my English is weak. I studied from an all Hindi medium school and therefore don't know what to say when I get up." Their problems were different, but the solution was the same. With one, I had to make sure that every single time that she went up on stage, she spoke not for others, but for herself. I wanted her to understand that whenever Shweta was on stage, she wasn't there to impress anybody. She was only there to express herself. Shweta did not have to worry about what people would say if she would stammer. Shweta did not have to worry of the judgments people would make if she would forget her speech. Shweta did not have to worry that even with low confidence, people would make fun of her. When I moved forward to the next student of mine or to the next person I had to coach, Mrs. Urmila Modak, She had all the confidence in the world. But when she went up on stage, she made grammatical errors. And the pseudo-grammar Nazis that we are, we make fun of people who don't know a language that does not belong to our country. Sadly, we don't concentrate on the message behind the language. We concentrate on whether the a and the or, the buts are used in the right place. Whether or not someone is saying pronunciation or pronunciation. We focus on the fact whether they have a mother tongue influence. Are they somewhere referring to a Bengali or a Marathi language while speaking in English? Have they been using Hindi word fillers? Very often we forget that we are listening to someone not to appreciate any language, but to understand the underlying message behind that language. I only had to explain this small mantra, which is a Hindi word, to my fellow student. I told her that, ma'am or Mrs. Modak, when you go up on stage, forget about the fact that people are listening to your language. Forget about the fact that they will make fun of your grammar. Just remember, do you have a nice message for the audience? Do you have anything in your speech that they will be able to take back with them? Do you have anything that you will say in those minutes that the audience will want to remember? If yes, you don't have to worry about anything else. Like I said, different problems, similar solution. With Shweta, I made sure that I worked hard on her confidence. I made sure that every single time that she practiced in an empty room, I was there to maintain eye contact with her. I made sure that every single time she would send me her recordings, I would give her my feedback. With Mrs. Modak, a funny incident that happened was, I suggested for her to meet me in Cafe Coffee Day or any other private training venue where we could practice. She refused to do so. She said, Archita, I'm an old woman, almost old. I don't want to be seen practicing in public. So the place that she chose was Victoria Memorial. As romantic as it sounds, there was nothing romantic about the meeting. I sat down in Victoria Memorial for the first time in my life, not with a date, but with a student training her. She stood, practiced her speech at least 5 times. And then next day, in her office, in front of the HR and the other colleagues, she presented the speech. Later, she came back to me with the video, and guess what? She didn't fumble, tumble, grumble, or mumble even once. When Shweta went up on stage, she delivered her. Towards the beginning, she was a little nervous, but by the time she reached the end, she received a thunderous round of applause. I did not do everything on my own here, and I wouldn't have been able to do if it wasn't for the determination and dedication of my 2 students. Both these people wanted to improve. So I have 2 things to tell you here from my experience of coaching. The first one is that the person you are coaching must be willing to improve. For if that person does not want to improve, there is absolutely nothing that you can do. And second, look beyond the weaknesses of a person. As a coach, your job is not to identify the weakness and work on it. As a coach, your job is to identify the strengths and make sure that you work on the strengths of that person. Weaknesses will follow. I feel proud to have coached these 2 people, and even prouder to have shared this experience with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Archita. Plethora of mantra given by you. And certainly we will try to imbibe all these things in our public speaking skills.
Thank you.
So let's quickly move into the next mind-boggling and the sizzling session of the day. That is the table topics. And to carry it forward, we have with us the person who believes whatever you hold in your mind on a consistent basis is exactly what you will experience in your life. So can we have a big round of applause for the table topic master and Toastmaster?
Thank you, Shashi. A round of applause for Shashi.
So this is the best part of any Toastmasters meeting. Very exciting. Generally people run away from it, but I would request you to participate. The topics are very easy and very much related to the topic. Okay. The guest will have this flexibility to change the topics, but the Toastmasters of this club will not be having such flexibility. So quickly, can I have my first volunteer? Anybody? Yeah, sir, please come. Please, pick anyone. So the first topic for Toastmaster Amit is a day without water. A day without water. Toastmaster Amit.
What will I do if I don't have any water? I need to maybe looking around like a crow, thirsty crow. So for that we need to save water each and every day. Maybe what I do generally with my family is just to save water, make the flow of the water less, so it saves some water. And if we don't get any water, I think in next 10 days or whatever, we will know more. So it's important that to the topic, we should save every drop. Every drop, like right now we are using 3 or 4 water. We can use 1, but it's easier said and it's hard to implement. So I hope we all can implement this and save a lot of water. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amit. Quickly, can we have the second volunteer? Yes, sir, please, if you want.
ठीक है जाओ.
Toastmaster Vikas, water, water everywhere, not a single drop to drink. Water, water everywhere, not a single drop to drink. Toastmaster Vikas.
Okay, fantastic. Water, water everywhere, not a single water. What do you drink?
Single drop to drink.
Single drop you drink. Water, as we all know, is the most important and essential element of our day-to-day life. And as the topic for the today, or the theme for the today suggests, the preservation and the importance of water, how effectively we should use it, which we are not using it. When we talk about change, when we expect change, we always look at the bigger figure. But as a person, the way I see things, I always believe that change begins with oneself. Though water, which most of us do not consider, as valuable as any other ornament which we use. But think about a bigger picture. Think about future. Think about what you are going to give to your next generation. After 30, 40, 50 years, can you live with only ornaments with platinum and gold in your body with no water? You will realize it the day you are most thirsty. You will realize it when you are extremely drenched. You will realize when you are well dressed with all the gadgets and digital ornaments, most valuable thing which you think is valuable, but you're still thirsty, your lack of water. How important it is. You are even ready to shed everything just for a bottle of water, even for a drop of water. With this, thank you so much. I hand it over to TDF for the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vikas. Can I have my third volunteer, please? Yeah, please. Choose anyone. So the topic for you is the bright future begins with clean water. Toastmaster Archita, the bright future begins with clean water.
They say future is going to be bright, but unfortunately, with the amount of scarcity of water across the world, I only see that the future is not right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm glad you're awake. The idea that our future is going to be without water has been told to us by many people. But every single day that you wake up, ask yourself, do we treat water as preciously as we should? Not just the fact that we waste water. The idea is a lot of us aren't even bothered. If at all the tap is running in the washroom, we don't even care if we are walking across the road and there is a tap that is on. Why should you step down and switch it off? When your kids throw water on each other, do you ask them to stop? Probably yes, because you don't want to clean their clothes later and not because they are wasting water. Every single time that there is a half-drunk drink in a glass, I mean water, do you make sure that it's not wasted? Every single time that you enter a party and you see that tons of bottles are kept across the room, do you make an effort to say that probably these many water bottles are not required? You're all working in a very high corporate organization, and for you, this is merely 10 rupees, which is not even a pinch on your pocket. 2 such bottles a day is something you can easily afford. Ask yourself if our planet is ready to afford the plastic that it comes in. And if not, even if you are able to afford it today, believe me, your kids, your future generations will not be able to afford this later on in time. The time to make the change is today. And if we don't start today, believe it or not, there's going to be no future. Thank you.
This was all for today's table topic section. Back to you, Toastmaster Sashi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Snehal. Let me complete the story where I stopped. Now, where was I? Anybody remember? Where was I? I was in the class. Soon after, we broke for lunch. And we carried forward our discussion with the roomie. We were on the table discussing over the matter on table in cafeteria. Fortunately, our HR, who happened to be the class coordinator as well, was sharing the table with us. We shared with him our anxiety and our pain points. He comprehended the crux of matter quite well, and he opined us to brood the message on WhatsApp group, to brood the message of giving up the luxury of using single sealed bottle every time. Fortunately, the message was welcomed by most of the people of class. Few friends who were a bit resilient over the idea and they were reprimanding over the idea, we had to discuss with them personally to get them on board. And very soon, we as a group or as a team succeeded. Just think over it, my dear friend. One batch of LDA can save 300 bottles of water a week. Mind you, it's not just 300 bottles of water, it was 850 bottles of plastic as well. So with one batch, in a week we can save this much, then how much can we save with hundreds of such batches going in LDA at Lonavala? And if LDA can achieve this, then just think over this, how much can Lonavala on whole can save? And for that matter, how much can this state or this country can save? Just think over it, my dear friend. The idea behind sharing this story was not to glorify our achievement. Rather, it was to remind each and every one of us sitting over here that we are skating on thin ice and we are we are dried to the hilt, up to the hilt. Let us quickly see into the facts, because anytime this thin sheet of ice can break. Don't you think that we as a responsible human have some kind of responsibility towards this beautiful planet? And even if not, then don't we have any kind of obligation towards the coming generation? Because remember, a drop wasted will be a drop missed by the generations to come. Think over it. Think over it for a while, my fellow Toastmasters. I will come with you all in the end and share with you what will year 2070 will look like if we continue the same way. But before I do so, can I invite the general evaluator of the day, to give us his bounteous feedback so that we can imbibe all those and reach to the paramount of our level.
Thank you. The time I took to get up from there, your compliment started, and when I reached, it still didn't stop. Thank you very much. You're very kind. So without any delay, let's have the timers report for the prepared speakers.
Good afternoon. Today for the prepared speeches, Mr. Ravi, the icebreaker of today's session, he took 8 minutes 5 seconds, which is slightly more than the allotted time. And Miss Archana took 7 minutes 7 seconds. It is almost the same.
Okay. So we have one disqualification for time.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the table topics?
And for the table topic speakers, Mr. Amit took 59 seconds, slightly less than the allotted minimum benchmark. And Mr. Vikas took 1 minute 43 seconds. And Ms. Archana took 2 minutes 6 seconds.
Fantastic. So again, we have one disqualification.
Yeah, one disqualification is.
Okay. And what about the evaluations?
Evaluations
Has not been done.
Yeah.
Mistake. Okay, I'll call you again. Thank you very much. So, my bad. So I'd like to call upon the first prepared speakers evaluator, Toastmaster Smitasha, to give an evaluation.
A famous saying by writer Siddharth: there cannot be ups in the roller coaster ride unless there are downs. In Toastmaster Ravi's speech, he has mentioned so many ups and downs in his speech. It was wonderful and quite justifying the speech. Few points which I really attracted to his speech is, his speech was well constructed and he maintained eye contact with everyone, from the first left, from me to everyone, and he started with confidence, and then here and there humor added to get the attraction back. Wonderful speech indeed. There are few points which you can add to make your speech more attractive. What I feel is, you have started well with confidence, but as your hands were clashed, you lost your confidence maybe in the mid, but you gain again after some period at the end. Then the second point, what I want to mention is, you have initially mentioned your journey of life in part 1, part 2 and part 3. If you can do it this way, you can express in the body of the speech, which is your part 1, and then some interesting transition you can add, and you express the part 2 instead of saying the part 1, part 2 in the initial time itself. So use it in the speech. And then every speech is like, the construction of the speech is like the rope holding cloths. Every 3 segments has three segments are equal important. So the introduction of your speech was well introduced. You have mentioned how you are going to express, and your body was well constructed. At the conclusion part of it, I wanted you to give you the takeaway which you can provide for audience to take back to their seats. Some message or some quotation, and if you could add your learnings. But as a whole, it was wonderfully constructed speech and you have delivered it very nicely. The humors that David comes and David goes grab the audience, and That's all. Thank you. All the best for your next speeches.
A few things to add to that evaluation, Toastmaster Smitarsha, is that while giving an evaluation, though the focus is on the speaker, it is for everyone to take away from your evaluation. So you are good with your eye contact, just move it back and forth, and I'm sure you are good with that. One more thing which probably may or may not have played a role in his exceeding time was, because all the other speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, icebreaker is 4 to 6. If you would have told that in the beginning to the timer,
she said actually.
You had informed, is it? Did the cards come out in 5 and 6? Okay, even then, is it? Okay. So that was it for me for Toastmaster Smitarsha. For you, like she said, you had fantastic eye contact with everyone. What I noticed is areas in which you remembered your lines, that time you made eye contact. Places where you were trying to recall, you were looking at the person but the table in front of that person. Right? And you had this gentle swaying which took away the attraction from an otherwise very nicely organized speech, like she said. One more thing which we all have to remember is, if you noticed in his speech, there were some lines which were very beautifully written, especially the part in which you said the gravitational pull of physics and the chemical reactions of chemistry were haunting me. Those sentences, when you write it or when I'm reading it, it is fantastic. When I tell it, if I don't tell it in the same way in which I'm imagining it, it will not hit the audience. You were expecting a laugh, right? You were expecting some audience interaction from that, but it didn't come. When you went to the debit and this credit part, the way you said that, if you would have said this line in the same way, you could have got some audience involvement in that. Apart from that, starting off as icebreaker, it was fantastic. I think for an icebreaker, I have seen people come out with notes and fumble, but all that was missing, and that was fantastic. Done. Going on to the second speaker, can I invite the evaluator for Toastmaster Ravinda?
Thank you. So a good coach will make his client see what they can rather than what they are. So it was an excellent speech by Toastmaster Archita. You used the stage very well. There was good stage presence. You floored us with your smile. And there was plethora of energy rolling in the room. You used your hand gesture amicably well. When you mentioned about the girl who came to you for being coached, Shweta, you mentioned that one was Shweta and other was the 50-year-old woman. So that was excellent usage of the hands. I also found that your vocal variety was excellent, something which a lot of us can learn from. When you use the words fumble, tremble and gumble, so that was something which I really cherished in your speech. You used the stage very well. When you mentioned about your interactions with Shweta, you used this part of the stage. And when you had to mention about Miss Urmila Modak, you used this part of the stage. So this was something which took my attention. You also had an excellent message towards the end of your speech when you mentioned that anybody who would like to be coached should have willingness to improve. And second part is that the coach has to also look beyond the weaknesses of the person whom he or she is trying to coach. So these were some of the excellent highlights of your speech. However, I would expect you to challenge yourself in terms of when you were introducing the coachees to you. When you brought the two people who you have coached, possibly their introduction as to how did they come into your assignment of coaching would have made it look better. The other aspects is that when you are talking about coaching, you address them as students is something which doesn't actually go the right way. Maybe you could have used the words like client or your coachee. It would have sounded better. The other aspect is which I felt it looked more prescriptive. A coach is a person who actually removes the barriers in the minds of the client or the coachee. So this is something which you may like to work upon. However, I must say, the entire speech was filled with energy, plethora of positivity, and excellent oratory skills. I wish you all the best in your journey forward, Toastmaster Archita. Thank you very much. Toastmaster of the day. I'm extremely sorry. I just missed you.
No. So, fantastic evaluation, and almost everything what I had written down for Toastmaster Archita you have already addressed. In fact, I didn't have any recommendations, but you still came up with some. Great. The one place where I think, I don't know how you missed it, but your approach in table topics was something different. I'll tell you what she did when I talk about the table topics. And so now can I have the timers report for the evaluations, please?
Yeah, in the evaluation section, Mr. Ravindra took 2 minutes 47 seconds, which is well within the limit. And Ms. Smitasha took 3 minutes 10 seconds, slightly more than the prescribed limits.
Still, I think upper limit 30 seconds is there, so both of them are qualified. One suggestion to you would be that when you address people here, you can, instead of the Miss and Mr. part, you just add Toastmaster and it'll cover everyone in that. Now moving on to the our counters report, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'll start with the tabletop speaker prepared speech. Toastmaster Ravi Shankar, you used and so 3 times and more. Are one each. Toastmaster Archita was flawless. Kudos. Then table topic master, Toastmaster Amit was flawless. Toastmaster Vikas, you used twice and you repeated word twice. And again Toastmaster Archita, you were flawless. Speech evaluator, Toastmaster Smitasha, you used 3 times, and Toastmaster Ravindra 1 time and 2 times. That's it.
Can I please have the grammarians report, please?
Good afternoon. Grammarian report for today is Toastmaster Sasi, word of the day he has used 2 times. Toastmaster Ravindra used 2 times also. And not so good use of grammar. Gravitational forces, it should be gravitational force. Then fact of that, I was happy. Sorry, fact is that, it should be fact was that, means the situation like it should be was that. Then I was happy that I have been selected by L&T. It should be I had been selected by L&T. Then few points I was affected was, instead of was, it should be where. Then some words and sayings that you liked: cloud9, eloquent, stammer, roller and coaster, fascinated you. Thank you.
To add to that, I think some of the good usages which caught my attention was when she used fumble, mumble, grumble, and tremble. Tremble. Okay, that was a good one. And your the way you write your speech is, I think they are written very well. You just have to figure out how to say it out. Now for the table topics part, Toastmaster Amit, when you came in, so what Toastmaster Amit, and if you saw the person who came after you, the difference where he had some time to think and you didn't was because of the greeting the audience. He took that time. Greeting the audience is mechanical. You say good afternoon. When you stand here, you say good afternoon. By the time that your mouth is doing, but your brain can think about the topic. So I would suggest everyone at least use that part to give your brain few extra seconds to think. Now when Toastmaster Archita came in, that was kind of a template which you can use for any table topics. You start with the first thing that comes to your mind. At least one line will come about the topic, you say that. Then you address the audience, you greet them. When she waited for you all to say good afternoon, her brain must have been working to get up some new ideas. And then she finished it with, waited for the flags. As soon as it was red, she knew she had some time to conclude. and she concluded. So that is the template which you can all use. In your prepared speech, that was what got me thinking as to why you did it that different. When you opened your prepared speech, you asked the question, you said good afternoon, but you didn't wait for the audience to reply. Do you know the difference between coach and mentor or coach and teacher? And you straight went on with your speech. So maybe I realized you must have practiced your speech, so you had to keep it between 7, so you cannot wait for someone to answer and then take away some seconds. But yeah, that is the only thing. Other than that, I think it was well informed that the meeting will start little late, 10 minutes late. It was already informed to me. There was a role player change that also was informed to me. What I would suggest, I think somebody as previous general evaluators already suggested, just have a placard in the front saying that, enter while applause, enter during applause, so that one person doesn't have to sit over there guarding the door and somebody trying to look up and down what's happening. So that it's just a printout, laminate it, put 2 holes and just hang it there. So other than that, the Toastmaster of the day, the way you took the session, it was fantastic. Your use of content, statistics, emotions, everything went with the theme and was very informative. The way you introduced people, that also was aligned to your theme, so that again was really well done. And I'm glad that you have increased it from 1 prepared speech to 2 prepared speeches, which is good. But I would really like the table topic sessions to be at least give more opportunities for 2 more, at least 5. So I think that would really work well. Thank you. That's about it. Thank you.
So the plethora of learning and plethora of entertainment was what I can remember this day for. But before I disperse, can I show you a clip of 4 to 5 minutes if you permit? I mean, this is something which is very much.
इधर ही ऑन है बगल में ओपन
इसको फिर से स्टार्ट करना है अदरवाइज थैंक यू
Remove the desktop icons.
Oh, sound has gone. It has been more than 20 times I have seen this video, but still I get goosebumps. Apart from that, many people might have noticed Ria slides was written there at the bottom left side. Don't think too much because even I don't know who is Ria. It was shared by the professor of IIM, which I have just passed on to you. So before I end, I just want to conclude today's session with a thought-provoking quote, and it goes like, "She is water, powerful enough to drown you, soft enough to cleanse you, and deep enough to save you." So think judiciously, because often in the thick of things, we tend to forget these simple things. So before I end, can I call upon today's guest, Toastmaster Ruposri, because he has something to announce with us.
Thank you. Well, a very good afternoon to all of you. Lovely. Now this needs energy because we are going to have, we means I am representing L&T Toastmasters Club as a president of the club, and I am inviting all of you, exclusively of course Toastmaster Archita, because she's also the president of KTM, though I need to visit there, but I will definitely do it. I am here to invite all of you to please come and let's celebrate the completion of 100th meeting that we have done. We have already covered 100th meeting and we are having a celebration for that. It's going to be a special meeting at ICCR. The timing would be from 4:30 to 8 and it is on 15th of February. The link has already been shared in the open group. I would again share it to Smitasha and Ravinder of course, so that it can be forwarded to the others. Everyone is requested to please come because when we are together, we prove that we are Toastmasters. And Toastmaster of a single club cannot enjoy alone. We are here to join each other and enjoy. So I am requesting all of you to please come and enjoy together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Ruposri. We'll surely try our level best to attend that.
Thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
now finally I would like to hand over today's meeting to the president of the day, acting president of the day, Toastmaster Sandeep. Can we have you here? And can we hear it loud for the acting president?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Sasi Bhushan. Big round of applause to all the speakers and role players. I am quite sure that today's theme as well as the session will inspire and generate ideas around the ways that will help us, that will add a drop of contribution towards making this planet a better place. So, I would like to thank Chris for taking out time to be the general evaluator for our club meeting today. I would also like to thank Toastmaster Archita for selecting our club for delivering your eloquent speech. Now, you must be aware that the details of the sessions for Division K have been shared among all the members. Would like all the members to try to attend at least once in a month, so that you can have a better idea what all happens in different clubs. Considering today's attendance, I would request all the members to keep attending our chapter meeting regularly. That will of course help you improve your speaking, listening and thinking skills. With that, now I would like to conclude the meeting. Thank you.